In this bus wreck, I want you to visualize for a second. Use your brains. Use your mind to visualize. A bus driving down the road. And on this bus is every human on earth. The Italian, the German, the Japanese, all the races on earth are on this bus. And the bus driver is driving. The African is not on the bus. And the reason the African is not on this bus is because the African is older than everybody else on that bus. Science has proven that we're the oldest people on earth, yet we are lagging behind everybody else on earth. Well, this bus wreck is going to explain some of it to you. The African is an old black woman changing her tire. See, she's so old, she's been around for so long that she has her own transportation. She's not a part of this public transportation that the rest of the world had at this time. So there she is, fixing her flat tire. The bus comes down the road. It loses control. It's raining. It's drizzling. Thunder. Lightning. And she loses control of this bus and it skids over. Everybody on this bus is injured. It turns over, flips over a rail down the highway and runs over this African woman on the bus. Everybody's injured. Everybody on the bus is injured. Somebody from Russia got their back broken. Somebody from China broke a neck. Somebody from India broke a leg. Somebody from Europe, somebody from England broke an ankle. Everybody's called it human drama. Life hurts all of us. But the African woman was skidded over by the bus. Nobody in this world has been through what we've been through for as long as we did. You see, before we ever got here, we were crazy. There was something seriously wrong with us before we ever got here. Because the first thing that happened in Africa is that we were already divided. We were already tribalized. We already had problems with ourselves, even in Africa before we even got here. It is said that whites never made it inside of 50 miles inside of Africa. They didn't have to. They made their deals on the coast, on the shoreline, all up and down West Africa. And then we would go and capture one another and sell them to these. We used to call them tubob, depending on which tribe you're talking about. And we sold ourselves to them at that particular time. Well, after that is when the hell really broke loose. Because we were trapped in a dungeon on the western coast of Africa for at least 3 months. They might take a room like this and squeeze 1,000 people in it. You have no clothes on. You got nowhere to go. You don't go outside and use the restroom. You just use the restroom right there on the floor.
I read about that.
Let me finish. I'll give you questions and answers after I finish, please, because I want to hear what you have to say. This is the story of the bus wreck. Then they put them on the ship. The ship, I don't know if you've ever been on the ship or not, but most of us get seasick. For 3 months we're on the ship coming over here. This is your ancestor. I'm going to show you how strong you are. I'm going to show you how powerful you are. You don't even know. But on this ship, they get sick. Now, if it's 100 degrees up on the top of the ship, it's 130 degrees down there in the hold. If it's 60 degrees outside, it's 40 degrees, 20 degrees down there in the bottom. You don't have any clothes on. You're chained from person to person. The chains are heavy chains. I've seen one of the chains that came from the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean when some of us couldn't take it anymore and jumped over. I've seen some of those chains. Those chains are strong enough to cut holes in your wrist, cut holes in your ankles, cut holes in your body. I've seen them. So here you are on this ship. This ship is swaying to and fro. You're bleeding. You're hurting. You're throwing up because the ship has made you sick. You're using the restroom on yourself. The person next to you is using the restroom on themselves. So there you are, lying in somebody else's urine, lying in somebody else's mess, lying in somebody else's puke. 3 months in the bottom, in the dark, can't see, don't know. Never saw your parents again. During the capture, you might have seen your parents get killed. If you have 4 brothers and sisters, you might be there by yourself with 1 brother or 1 sister who happened to get caught. So here you are traumatized for having seen your parents get killed, number 1, and now you're going through all this at the same time. See, we were already very ill before we ever got here. There was something wrong with us before we ever set foot on this country, in this country. And people want to know what's wrong with us. See, I'm talking about this bus wreck. Yeah, this was this bus wreck. After 3 months on this ship, most of us died. If the ship was 100 people on it, 60 people got there. Some of them just died. Some of them just gave up on down there in the bottom. Can you imagine being chained to somebody who died a week ago? The body swell up. They pop open. Worms start, maggots start coming all out. There you are. There you are. See, I'm talking about this bus wreck. I'm talking about what's wrong with us. But I'm also talking about how strong we are. Because everybody didn't die. Everybody didn't jump over. The sharks used to follow the ships because they knew they could feast on the flesh of the African. Those of us who would get a chance to come up on the deck and leave, just for a moment, would just take off and break and run and jump over, knowing full well there's a shark down there. Some sisters had their babies with them and didn't want their babies to go through this persecution, and they would take their babies whom they loved and throw them over. Sharks eating their babies. And they would follow. Sharks eating them. See, this is the bus wreck. This is who you are. This is where you came from. Don't take this stuff for granted. This is who you are. This is how powerful you are. Because the strongest ones are sitting here in front of me right now. The ones who could make it are sitting in front of me right now. So don't ever tell yourself, don't ever tell your neighbor, don't ever tell the brother and sister you know, don't ever tell your mother, your father, your cousins, your uncles that there's something they can't do. The fact that we are here should tell you who you really are. This is a powerful thing. You are a powerful thing. So today, I'm going to talk briefly about how to undo the things that we do to one another in the black community, starting with yourself. One of the first things I had to do was get away from some of my friends. I had to get away. I had to start hanging around people who wanted to be the best. I started hanging around people who wanted to care about themselves. I started hanging around people who liked me. And I'll tell you something. If you run across somebody who don't like themselves, trust me, there's no way they're going to like you. You came into this world by yourself. You're going to leave by yourself. I talk to brothers that's in the joint all day long. And I hear story after story after story about how they were homies on the outside. But when it went down, the homies ended up turning their backs on them. The homies ended up, you know what I'm saying, they were by themselves, cuffed, locked up, sent up. There are 3 basic steps to controlling the mind. First, and this is my favorite part, and please forgive me if I'm offending anyone, but you gotta get high. You gotta get high. The Creator made us to be high. We're supposed to be high. We're not supposed to be down. We're supposed to be happy. We're not supposed to be sad. We're supposed to feel good. We're not supposed to feel bad. And the way I get myself high, I used to get high synthetically, with drugs, alcohol. But I found out later on in life that I could not be a man and get high. You see, you can't be a man when you have to duck and dodge, hide, run. That's not manly. There's nothing manly about standing on a corner, slinging, and then you got to keep looking over your shoulder. I walk anywhere I want to walk. I talk to anybody I want to talk to. I don't have to bow my head to anybody. I don't have to run from any man. It wasn't like that when I was messing with drugs. It wasn't like that when I was selling drugs. You understand what I'm telling you? I'm showing you. I'm talking about this at bus wreck. I'm talking about how to get yourself ready. So the first thing you have to do is get high. Not synthetically. I don't even take aspirin today. I'm a totally clean brother. So this is what you do. The way to get high is through your breathing. Show you how important breathing is. Breathing is the first thing you'll do in the morning. Breathing is the first thing you did when you were born. The first thing you did was to take a first breath of air. The last thing you'll do is to take a breath of air. You're gone. You're out of there. So that should tell you how important breathing is. You can last days without water, weeks without food, but only minutes without breath. So breath is the key to life.